Everyone knew the truth. No one dared to say it. The town of Ridgeton looked peaceful from a distance. Neatly clipped lawns, fresh paint on fading houses, people who waved even when they didn't mean it. But beneath all that calm, secrets, old ones, rotting ones, the kind the town decided decades ago to bury instead of face. And this story starts with the night someone tried to dig one up. It was 2:14 a.m. when dispatch received the call. A woman, whispering, terrified. He's inside. I know he's inside. Please, please send someone. Then a crash, a muffled scream, and silence. The operator repeated hello 6 times before the line went dead. The address? 47 Pine Hollow Road. A house no one ever wanted to visit. Not because it was haunted, not because it was abandoned, but because the last time police went there, someone didn't come back. Ridgeton never talked about that incident, and even now they pretended not to remember. Dispatch tried to reroute officers. None accepted. Cars malfunction. Radios lost signal. Everyone had an excuse. Everyone except Detective Mara Hale. Mara didn't believe in town folklore, and she didn't believe in curses. She only believed in evidence. So she went, alone. Moonlight hit the house like a spotlight, harsh and unforgiving. The porch tilted slightly, as if trying to whisper, "Turn around." Mara ignored it. She pushed the door open. No resistance, as if someone wanted her to come in. Inside, the air was stale, cold, wrong. "Ridgeton PD," she called out. "If anyone's inside, announce yourself." Nothing, but the quiet didn't feel empty, felt crowded. Her flashlight swept across the living room, furniture half covered in sheets, a family portrait face down on the floor, a woman's purse dumped over lipstick, receipts, and a photo of a smiling girl. The caller, Olivia Hart, 27, elementary school teacher. Mara kneeled and lifted the picture. The girl's eyes sparkled with life, but on the back, scribbled in frantic handwriting, "He found me." Mara's stomach clenched. Who? And how? Then she heard it. A soft thump from upstairs. Not a creak. Not settling wood. A deliberate step. Someone else was in the house. Mara stepped carefully up the staircase, gun drawn. Halfway up, she heard breathing. Not hers. Slow, steady, controlled. A shadow shifted at the top landing. "Ridgeton PD," she warned. "Show your hands." The shadow stepped into view. Tall, thin, wearing a dark hooded sweatshirt. Hands dripping with something dark. Paint? Oil? Something else? She couldn't tell in the dim light. But the most disturbing part? His face. It was hidden behind a mask. Not a Halloween mask. Not a ski mask. Plain, white, expressionless mask. Featureless. Like he wasn't pretending to be someone else. He was pretending not to exist at all. The masked man tilted his head, curious, as if studying her. Mara raised her weapon higher. That was when he whispered, "You're early." She fired. But the man didn't fall, didn't flinch. He was gone, slipping into the dark hallway like he'd never been there. Mara ran after him, but the hallway was empty. No doors opened, no windows, no footprints. He had vanished. That was impossible, unless the rumors about this house had some shred of truth. A soft buzzing sound came from the end of the hallway, a phone vibrating. A cracked, older model smartphone lay on the floor. Screen lit, recording. A video was playing. Mara hit pause and rewound. She pressed play. Olivia's face filled the frame. Tears streaked her cheeks. "It's him," Olivia whispered. "I saw him. He's back. And he wants." A crashing sound interrupted the recording. Olivia jolted. Her eyes widened with terror. "No, no, no. Please, someone help." The video cut to black. Mara's hands tightened around the phone. She swallowed her rising panic. She needed to find Olivia. Now, she pushed open the bedroom door beside the phone. The smell of old wood and dust erupted outward. And then she froze. There, carved into the wall in jagged letters, Remember me? Mara stepped closer. The carving was fresh. Splinters on the floor. Edges raw. Whoever did it was here recently. She scanned the room. Then her flashlight landed on something that made her blood run cold. On the bed, perfectly placed, was a second mask. Identical. White. Emotionless. But this one had writing across the forehead. Mara. Her breath caught. Her pulse jumped. Someone knew she was coming. Someone had planned for this. And they left a message only she would understand. Mara pulled out her phone and opened a hidden folder. A file she was told to delete 3 years ago. She never did. Richton PD called it Case 09-17. Unofficially, people called it the Hollow Man case. A masked intruder. Silent. Smart. Always one step ahead. 6 break-ins. 2 kidnappings. 1 unsolved disappearance. The suspect was never caught. Then the case was closed. Abruptly. Without explanation. And every officer involved was told to stay quiet. Mara remembered the scraps of evidence. The strange symbols left at each scene. The identical white masks. The chilling recordings. And the one witness who swore the man could disappear. A witness who mysteriously moved out of town. To this day, no one knew where she went. Mara never forgot the feeling that night at the final scene. Someone watching, waiting, breathing behind the walls. And now, it was happening again. Another thud, this time above her. The attic. Mara climbed the narrow wooden ladder, each step a drumbeat in her chest. The attic was colder than the rest of the house. Much colder. Boxes lined the walls. Old furniture draped with sheets. A faint light flickered in the corner. A lantern. Beside it, Mara's breath hitched. Olivia, tied to a chair. Unconscious. Shallow breathing. Alive. Mara rushed forward. Her hands shook as she checked Olivia's pulse. Strong. Thank God. She began cutting the ropes. That was when the lantern flickered, dimmed, went out. Darkness swallowed the attic. Then a voice, soft and close, whispered behind her. You shouldn't have come alone. Mara spun, gun up, but the masked man was already moving. A blur in the shadows, inhumanly fast. Mara fired again. Gunshot cracking the silence, but she hit nothing. The attic filled with the sound of footsteps circling her. Fast, taunting. Then they stopped. Right behind her. Mara didn't turn. She couldn't breathe. The man leaned close enough that she felt his breath on her ear. You remember me, don't you? Mara's heart pounded. She did. She just didn't want to admit it. He wasn't a stranger. Not entirely. There had always been suspicion. Rumors. Patterns. But hearing the voice confirmed it. The Hollow Man wasn't just back. He had been here, in Ridgeton, all along. And he knew her, personally. He whispered again. This time, don't make the same mistake. A sudden sound, metal scraping, and then, silence. Mara flipped her flashlight back on. Olivia was gone. The ropes she'd cut were neatly coiled on the floor. And beside them lay something new. A note, just one sentence. Written in Olivia's handwriting. He knows what you did. Mara felt the room tilt. Her lungs tightened. Her fingers trembled around the paper. Because she did do something. 3 years ago. Something the department forced her to bury. Something she swore no one would ever know. Yet the Hollow Man knew. And Olivia had been forced to write this. Mara stumbled backward, breath ragged. She needed to call for backup. She needed to get out of this house. She turned toward the attic door and froze. The ladder was gone, vanished. In its place, carved into the trapdoor with a knife. You're next. Her heart slammed against her ribs. Then she saw it. A light blinking on the far side of the attic. A phone. Recording. Someone was watching her. Someone wanted this moment documented. And as she walked toward the blinking light, her phone vibrated. A text message. No number. No sender. Just 10 words. You have 1 night to tell them the truth. Mara stared at the message, her pulse racing. Tell who? And which truth? Before she could think, another message came through. This one included a picture. Mara's blood ran cold. The photo showed a little girl, sleeping peacefully in her bed. Her little niece, the one person Mara would die to protect. Beneath the photo, a final message: midnight, or she disappears. Just like the others, Mara's knees nearly gave out. He wasn't threatening her. He was threatening her family. And now, she had less than 8 hours to make an impossible choice. Reveal the truth she'd buried, and destroy everything. Or stay silent, and lose the only person she loved. The attic suddenly felt smaller, darker, alive, because the Hollow Man was doing what he always did best. Not killing, not kidnapping, but cornering, trapping, breaking. And Mara realized something with sickening clarity. This wasn't a comeback. This wasn't revenge. This was unfinished business. And she was at the center of it. 20 minutes later, neighbors on Pine Hollow saw police cars racing toward the house. Half the department responded. But when they entered the attic, Mara was gone. No signs of struggle. No footprints. No trace of Olivia. No trace of Mara. Just one last video playing on the lantern screen. A video recorded minutes before officers arrived. It showed Mara standing perfectly still, face pale, eyes wide, breathing hard. Then, in one swift motion, the camera tipped over. Footsteps, a whisper, a scrape of wood. Finally, the masked man's voice, low and steady. She knows the truth. Now let's see if she tells it. The screen went black. That was the final moment the world saw Detective Mara Hale. Mara woke to darkness. Thick, still, the kind that felt padded, like a blanket pressed over her senses. Her wrists weren't tied. Her legs weren't restrained. She was simply trapped. The air smelled faintly of pine and old carpet. Her fingers brushed a wall, rough, wooden. Not a basement, a cabin. A single light snapped on overhead. Mara blinked hard. She was in a small room. A chair, a table, and a door with 3 heavy bolts. Her phone sat on the table. But the moment she reached for it, the screen lit up on its own. A video began to play. Olivia, still alive, still terrified, sitting in a different room, tied to a chair again. And behind her, the Hollow Man. He leaned forward into the frame. Mara, he whispered, voice calm, controlled, too familiar. It's time. Olivia looked up at the camera, tears streaking. Please just tell him. Please. Then the video ended. A single text appeared on the screen. Tell the truth. Then you can have her back. Mara sank into the chair. She had run from this moment for 3 long years. And the Hollow Man knew it. 3 years earlier, Ridgeton was shaken by a string of break-ins. All connected, all precise, all leaving behind the same chilling signature. A white mask. But there was one thing the public never knew. There was a suspect. A real one. And Mara found him. His name was Elias Ward. A quiet, intelligent, emotionally distant young man who lived on the outskirts of town. A man with a history of trespassing. A man who matched every detail of the Hollow Man profile except one. He was Mara's foster brother. They weren't close anymore, but they shared enough of a childhood for her to recognize his handwriting in some of the notes left behind. She confronted him. He denied everything. He cried. He begged her to believe him. And for a moment, she almost did. But then she found a box under his floorboard containing 2 masks and a map of the town marked with every crime scene. It was enough evidence to arrest him for life. But that wasn't what happened. Because the chief intervened. Because Elias had connections, political, financial, the kind that reached beyond Ridgeton. So the town leaders made a deal. The case would be closed. The evidence would disappear. And Mara would never speak of it again. The official conclusion stated Elias Ward left town willingly. Moved away. Started a new life. Except Mara knew the truth. Elias didn't leave. He was released. And she'd been forced to sign the papers. She told herself she buried the evidence to protect the town, to protect her job, to protect her family. But deep down, she knew she helped free a monster. The room door clicked. Bolts slid open one by one. Mara stood, steady, ready. The Hollow Man stepped inside, mask still on, posture calm. confident, collected. But Mara heard the breathing, knew the gait, recognized the energy. "Elias," she whispered. He didn't deny it. Instead, he lifted the mask and held it at his side. Elias looked older, sharper, eyes haunted but burning with clarity. "You should have told them," he said quietly. "You should have stayed away," Mara shot back. He chuckled, not cruel, just tired. "I wasn't lying back then, Mara." Her breath hitched. "What? I never committed those break-ins. I never took those women. I never did any of it." Mara's mind raced. "No, I found masks, maps, notes." He stepped closer. "Planted in my home, by the same man who's been doing this long before you joined the department." Mara shook her head. "That's impossible." "I saw. You saw what they wanted you to see," Elias said. "You saw what the town needed you to see." She froze. "The town." He smiled, sad, knowing. "You really think a case that big just disappears?" he asked softly. "You really think they forced you to burn the evidence to protect me?" Her heartbeat thudded painfully. "You weren't the threat, Mara," Elias said. "I was just the distraction." The room suddenly felt colder. The walls seemed to shrink as Elias continued. "I didn't take Olivia," he said. "I didn't take the others." "Then who did?" He turned his head slightly, like he was listening to something only he could hear. "The real Hollow Man," he whispered. "He's been here for years, living among everyone, blending in, watching." Mara felt the back of her neck prickle. "Someone in Ridgeton?" she whispered. Elias nodded. "Someone you trust. Someone everyone trusts." "How do you know?" "Because he came after me first," Elias said. "He framed me, forced me to run. And when you didn't expose the truth, he realized you were easy to control." Mara's stomach twisted. "Where's Olivia?" Elias motioned toward the door. "Alive. Safe. I took her because he was going to. She's leverage. The only thing that forces you to face what the town tried so hard to bury." "You abducted her," Mara said sharply. Just like what?" Elias cut in. "Like the stories they fed you?" Mara hesitated. He leaned closer. "I never kidnapped anyone, but someone did. And it wasn't me." Mara clenched her jaw. "Why drag me into this?" "Because," Elias said, eyes piercing, "he's not done. And now he's coming for you." Elias unlocked the second door in the hallway. Inside was Olivia, alive, untied, trembling but unharmed. She stared at Mara like she'd been waiting hours. "Mara," she whispered, voice cracked with relief. Mara rushed to her. "I'm getting you out," she said softly. "I promise." Olivia grabbed her hand. "He said someone was coming," she whispered. "Someone worse than him." Mara turned to Elias. "What did you do?" He shook his head. "You really think I brought you here to hurt you?" He motioned to the entrance. "I brought you here to protect you." "Protect us from who?" Elias exhaled. "From the man who taught me everything about fear before I ever found a mask." Mara froze. "Impossible." "You're talking about the chief," she whispered. Elias didn't respond. He didn't have to. Mara pulled Olivia close and moved toward the exit. Elias stepped aside. "You don't believe me," he said quietly. "But you will." Mara glared. "We're leaving. I'll figure the rest out myself." But when she tried opening the main door, she realized it was already unlocked. A cold wind swept inside, and on the doorstep lay something that drained all the blood from Mara's face. A police badge, the chief's. Beside it, a white mask, but not Elias's design. This one was cracked, worn, old. A mask used decades ago, before Elias was even born. Elias slowly stepped forward. "He found us," he said. "He's coming." Olivia pressed against Mara's arm. The forest outside rustled. Branches snapped. Leaves shifted. Footsteps. Slow, deliberate, unhurried. Then a voice. Deep, familiar, calm. "Mara," the chief called. "Step outside. Let's talk." Olivia's fingers dug into Mara's arm. Elias tensed, ready to fight or flee. Mara's heart thundered. All those years, all those disappearances, all those unexplained closures, all the pressure to bury evidence. It made sense now. The Hollow Man wasn't a stranger in the dark. He was Ridgeton's protector, its leader, its predator, and Mara had been helping him without knowing. The chief's silhouette appeared in the doorway. "I'm disappointed you went digging," he said softly. "You were supposed to be smarter than this." Mara raised her gun, but the chief smiled. "You think I'm here to stop you?" He shook his head. "No, Mara. I'm here to finish what we started." Elias stepped beside her. "This is it," he whispered. "He won't let any of us leave." The chief took a step forward. "Drop the gun," he said, "and I'll let the girl live." Olivia whimpered. Mara tightened her grip. "No," she said. Her voice didn't shake. "Not this time." The chief tilted his head. "So you've chosen your side." He lifted his hand, and from the trees, dozens of masked figures stepped into view. Not identical masks, not uniform, every mask different, crafted, collected, some old, some new. A chilling pattern, because the Hollow Man was never one person. It was a network, a movement, a tradition, a secret the town protected for decades. Mara's chest tightened. It wasn't one man. It was Ridgeton. The chief smiled wider. "Welcome home, detective." Elias grabbed Mara's arm. "We run," he hissed. Olivia clung to Mara. Mara nodded once. They sprinted through the back door into the woods. Branches whipped their arms. Footsteps thundered behind them. The forest was alive with masked hunters. But Elias knew the woods better. He led them down a slope, across a narrow creek, through a thicket of fallen logs. Behind them, voices called out, calm, cold, confident. "Mara, you can't outrun family." They didn't stop until they reached an old storm drain entrance near the highway. Elias pulled open the grate. "In here. Move." They crawled inside, squeezing into the narrow tunnel. The masked figures reached the entrance seconds later, but Elias slammed the grate shut, locked it, blocked it with a fallen branch. Silence. Dark. Safe. For now. Olivia sobbed quietly. Mara finally breathed. The tunnel hummed with faint city noise above. Elias sat across from her, exhausted. "So," Mara whispered, "you're innocent." He nodded. "And the chief, the real Hollow Man," Elias finished. "The original, the one who built the system." Mara swallowed hard. "What do we do now?" Elias met her eyes. "We expose them," he said. "All of them. Every mask. Every name. Every lie." Mara looked at Olivia, shaking, terrified, but alive. Then she looked at Elias. Then at the grate above. She made her choice. "We finish this." Elias nodded. The three of them stood, together, for the first time, and in that dark tunnel beneath the town that never talked. Detective Mara Hale finally stopped running. The truth was no longer buried, and neither was she.